This is Scott the Fix-It Guy. Today we're going to be fixing a Bosch Ecosense dishwasher that isn't draining by replacing the drain pump. So first we're going to get all the water out of the sump. I'm just using a turkey baster, but you could use a sponge, works good too. So we want to get that nice and dry because when we remove the drain pump, we don't want any water to spill out, or we want to minimize that. We're going to turn off the power by either unplugging it or turning off the breaker. And then we're going to use a Phillips head screwdriver to remove the bottom panel. It's just two screws here. And underneath that is another panel that's being held on by two Phillips head screws. It's already been removed here in this video, but it's a silver panel that you have to remove. I think that one's actually, the silver one's held on by two Torx 15 screws. So now we're going to remove the front panel of the door by removing 6 Torx 15 screws, little screws, and that'll allow us to pull down on the front panel to remove it. So these are just on the inside of the door. And it makes it a little bit easier to get to where the pump is. Now we're going to pull down on the panel and it should release. Got to give it a tug and wiggle it. Open the door a little bit to help it come out. There we go. Close the door and then we can get to where the pump is here underneath. So it's this white part here where my left hand is. I'm going to take this wire harness off, unclip that, and then I'm going to push up on a little tab behind that, and then I'm going to grab the whole pump and turn it to the right. I'm going to turn it clockwise. So it's sitting at its 12 o'clock position. I want to turn it all the way to about 2 o'clock, and then it will release. Once you get it out to 2 o'clock, you can see that it's loose, but then it's going to take a little bit of finagling. You want to pull away from the dishwasher and pull up. Keep playing with it. It'll finally come loose, and you can get it out. So here's the old pump. And these pumps, oh, and also here's a little shell that came out. It might have been blocking the water. Usually these pumps do pretty good. It's pretty seldom that you have to replace them on the Bosch. So we have our new pump. We're just making sure the housing's clear. There's no little glass shards or anything caught in there before we put the new pump in. We're just going to fit it in and we'll push it in toward the dishwasher. We'll tilt it to about the 2 o'clock position, and then using two hands, one will push in and one will turn. We're going to turn it to the left towards you counterclockwise until it locks into position, and then it'll be sitting at 12 o'clock. And just take your time. Here's our little power connection. We have to make sure we plug that back in. And that plugs into the pump, and we'll put the wires back into their harness. We're going to put in this little piece which covers the impeller. Just push it down, click it in. Now we'll plug it back in or turn on the breaker so we have power again. Put the filter back in. Make sure it's locked into position. Put the spray arm back in, push it all the way down. Close the door. Turn on the power. And looks like it's draining good again, so we're going to put it all back together. We're going to put in these little plastic spacers that kind of help hold the door panel out. Make sure they sit all the way in. Just going to test it one more time. Yeah, it's draining good. You can see the water shooting out. So I'm going to put on this silver panel back on. When we took it apart, it wasn't shown in the video, but this is the panel I was talking about. So just want to make sure it sits at the top. You push in the top left-hand, top right-hand corner. Then we're going to put in the 2 Torx 15 screws. That's all that's holding them in. This panel is a lot easier to put in and take off when the front panel of the door is removed. Put in the right-hand side screw. Make sure those spacers are in. They usually fall off when you take the door panel off, but they go on pretty easy. So grabbing the door panel, we're going to push it up at the top first, and then I usually open the door a little bit to about 20 degrees, and then I push up on the panel at the bottom, and then I'll put the screws in. I'll put in one of the screws here on the left bottom first, then I'll do the right side bottom, and then kind of work my way up. This can be a little tricky putting this panel back on. Just take your time. You want to have the top part go in first, and then open the door to about 20 degrees, and then push in the bottom part of the panel. Get all the screws in. Turn on the power. Just testing it again. And now we're putting on the bottom kick panels. So put that one on first. Get the outer panel put in, and then we're going to put on the Phillips head screw that holds it. Just take a second to line up the holes. There we go. That's the right side. Push in the left side. And we're done. So thanks so much for watching, and please subscribe when you get a chance.